guys, I'm Kaycee Rice and welcome to Just Being We, the podcast that's not really a podcast, but it's more just about us being ourselves and capturing a conversation. Today, I have the incredible, most amazing human choreographer, dancer, my sis, Miss Jojo Gomez.
I love you.
I love you so much.
I love you too. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on. We were just talking before this and it was so great just getting to catch up and everything. But today's episode is about identity and finding your identity and what it means to truly be 100% who you are. And I wanted to bring you onto this one because I feel like you know who you are and you own it. And it's so inspiring for me to have someone like you to look up to, and obviously getting to grow up like with you and have you watch me grow up. It's been like quite surreal.
The best.
And that kind of leads into what I wanted to talk about first, which is how we met. So everyone knows how we met and how long it's been and everything. So
oh my God. Okay, first of all, thank you for having me. I love you. I'm so proud of you. This is amazing. Can we talk about this? Like this
made
is
by my mom.
You better work.
I know.
This is amazing. It even says my name on it. This is awesome. So cheers. Congratulations.
Cheers. Thank you.
This is so cozy and comfortable and safe. And let's jump into how we met.
Yes.
Okay, so I used to assist Trisha Miranda. And there was one day where she was like, hey, I'm going to be going to the studio and I'm going to be working with this amazing dancer. Her name is Kaycee. And I'm choreographing a solo for her, and so I was her assistant on it.
Yeah.
And I had no idea who I was gonna meet when I walked into the studio. And I met you, and you were just this freaking, I'm not gonna curse, but like a firecracker filled with so much energy. You were like this little thing, like so like baby, but just like next level amazingness. I was like, oh my God, this girl is iconic. Oh my God. And the name of the solo, it was that iconic solo of yours.
It was Work.
Work.
Which is the 10-year anniversary this year.
Crazy.
So 10 years.
10 years. You were always iconic. Like when I met you 10 years ago, you were just on fire. And it was like, I knew that you were going to be where you are today.
Oh.
And
thank you.
We just like, it was, because there is an age difference between us, but I immediately connected with you because I'm super full out. I'm super full out. So when I was watching you, I was so inspired by you. It didn't matter like if I was a little older, you were younger. I was like, this girl is amazing. So we met at your studio.
Yeah, and I had that, the video of us practicing and everything. I think I posted it like on my story last year, but I was going through my mom's phone and I was like, oh my God, and you were blonde and like we were in the studio and you were dancing right next to me doing it and we were so full out with like all the hair whips and everything. I have to show you.
I've never seen that.
Really?
I've literally never seen that. I just remember all of it.
Yeah, there's probably so many like videos from that time. And everything.
So
like,
fun.
It's so cool to know how like you were brought into the studio because obviously I didn't know like how Trisha like asked or anything. I just remember being 10 years old, super quiet at the time, just nodding and being like, okay, yeah, I'll do that.
You were just so like, I don't even know how to describe it. Just a firecracker. It was like an explosion. You were so small but mighty. I was like, work.
Oh my God. I was looking at, I have the shorts, the iconic shorts, like framed, and how tiny they are. They are, I have no idea how I was ever that tiny. They're like this big.
No way.
And I'm like, my foot doesn't even fit into that.
But it's so funny.
It's insane. I could put it on a Build-A-Bear and that's just like how tiny I was.
I have to see it. Is it in the house?
I don't know if I have it here or if it's still at my parents' house, but
I gotta see it.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's frame worthy.
Yes. And well, like also during one of, I think it was the one video that was posted from that competition. But the shorts, because they were spray painted,
Right.
they were super stiff. And so it ended up splitting, like
No
in the
way.
front on the very first move. So, but luckily I was wearing like white shorts underneath and everything.
I would have never known.
Yeah, it's completely split because I remember trying them on, and because they were spray painted, it was just so stiff. So I did that first
pole
drop.
squat. That pole squat.
Yeah,
You already,
you know.
if you know that pole squat.
And then came the memes after that. And
Yep.
like the Christmas, there was Bill Nye too. Like
There was
the Bill Nye-
celebrities.
Yeah, it was just, it's so crazy, but it's weird when I can say, oh, that was a decade ago.
Deadass. That was literally 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's so crazy that we're sitting here now too.
Yeah. I'm so happy that I've been able to, again, like grow up with you and next to you and everything, because obviously when we met, I was only 10, but now I feel like we know each other on such a grown and human level, and I'm able to open up to you more than I have to anybody else in my life, and just to have this friendship that I feel so safe and secure in, it really means a lot to me. And you are truly like one of my greatest inspirations, not even just in dance, like putting dance aside, just as a human, and just you have so much love. And I know so many people who from the outside view you, they can see that too, and they feel that energy.
Thank you.
And it's really cool that I can say that you're one of my closest people, and we only get closer every single year.
time.
And every time we see each other and get to learn something new about each other. And
The feeling is so mutual.
yeah.
But we had a nice little like conversation before this. I really appreciated that because like I'm currently going through a little bit of a hard time, but you're someone that I can really trust and open up to, and I have trouble opening up to people, and I just really appreciate the safety that you bring to me as well. And it's been so nice just getting closer to you after all these years.
Yeah.
You know, and you inspire me too. You really inspire me with your authenticity and your kindness, and you never change for anyone. And it's funny how you say that I know myself so well. You know yourself so well. And I don't want to speak for you, but just from the outside looking in, you have never changed for anybody. And I really, really admire that about you, because I mean, growing up for me in the industry, I felt like I had so many identity crises, which we'll get into, but I felt like I had to change myself a lot for a job or to fit into a mold and to book something like a dream job. But I've always admired that, whether it's with the industry or just in life, growing up, seeing you grow up, I can easily say that you've evolved, but you've never changed who you are as a person. You've always kept your heart and your mind right, and you're genuine, and I can always count on you that you will always show up as Kaycee and never change or switch up. And I don't know, I just think that's something that's admirable. That's really admirable, because that's the most inspirational thing to me. And that's some role model shit. I knew I said I wasn't gonna curse, but that's on some role model shit right there. Like literally, you don't change for anyone. You are you, unapologetically. I think that's so cool. Just wanted to tell you that.
It's so funny because like I say that you know yourself and you say that I know myself, but I feel like when other people view you, they always say that, but you yourself don't feel it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I have no idea who I am at all. Like, I know certain parts of me, but then there's other parts that I always second guess. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life, or I have those crises and I'm like, oh my God, who am I? But that's just, it's so funny how we're always the ones ourselves who don't know ourselves, but everyone on the outside can see that we do. We just
it's
are
weird,
blinded
right?
by it.
It's such an interesting concept.
Yeah.
I don't even know really how to answer that. But I don't know. Like, let's just start with some questions. It's such a complex conversation, but it's so important to talk about.
Yeah. to just ask you about was just your journey of finding who you are and just how you've kind of found the identity that is the Jojo Gomez that we know today.
Thank you for asking. And it is such a interesting question because I'm still actually finding myself. And when I first moved out to LA, that was definitely a culture shock for me because I'm from Western Massachusetts. And so it was so polar opposite when I moved out to LA, going to auditions and just trying to fit a mold of what those dream jobs would be for me. I really wanted to work. When I moved out at a young age, I had all of these dreams and I would hear a lot more no's. And when I would get cut, my feelings would get so hurt because I was so sensitive. But I found myself doing certain things where in my head I was like, oh, okay, I got cut from this job, but they kept certain people with this look. Then the next day I would change my hair. So you can imagine I had complete identity crisis at that age with trying to be a consistently booking dancer. And just training every single day and absorbing all these different energies when you go to class and being inspired by people. So I would say I definitely struggled with my identity at a young age, 17, moving out to LA. But I found that I started finding my voice when I started making my transition into choreography. Because I assisted some amazing choreographers and I was so inspired by them. And I did a lot in my dance career, but I felt such a huge shift when I started doing choreography. And it was such a challenge because it required me to really, really, really find my own identity as a creative and to trust that. And again, I was so inspired by the people that I was around, but I had to break myself from wanting to be like somebody else because I love being inspired by people, but that is so real. Sometimes you can find yourself becoming a replica of another person if you don't really, really dedicate to your own originality. So that was something that I really loved doing because I felt myself changing every handful of times a year throughout my dance experience because I wanted to fit a mold. And I think a lot of dancers can relate to that. So nowadays, my hair is pink today, but that was because I was bored and I just wanted to experience a new me.
And it's also, hair has so much to do, I feel like, with identity. I know. It's so weird to say, but it is your own accessory. And it is fun to change it up. But me being indecisive, I could never.
No, I get it. I'm really spontaneous with. It's so weird because I don't like change in life. I'm really bad with accepting changes in my personal life. But when it comes to my image now, I'm so let's do it. Let's do blue. Let's do red. Let's do pink. I was blonde a couple months before this for the wedding. And I was hoping, I just pray to God that my hair doesn't fall out again. Because when I did
bald
Demi.
Is a look.
Yeah, bald is a freaking look. I'm afraid I couldn't pull it off, but I think it's such a vibe.
I feel like it's sickening. It is so dope. And whoever, I think it's such a cool look.
It's such a cool look. My friend Christy is bald and she is absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous, and she rocks it. She wears wigs sometimes. She just changes her look up. I probably couldn't do it because I don't have the confidence with my face. I'm I don't have the gorgeous face to pull it off.
You do.
No, but do you get what I'm saying? I don't got the bone structure. But I love changing my image. And I think before, when I was younger, I felt like I had to do it to just be good enough for a job. And I would just compare it to, these dancers booked this job and they got a yes, so I need to look like that. So I did have a lot of different identity crises growing up. But once I became a choreographer and I really dedicated to why I genuinely love to dance, and once I started creating a different avenue for myself and saying, I can open up my own doors and I don't have to just, stick with dancing behind someone my whole life, which I love. I love, booking jobs and dancing with artists, and that was something that I did for a really long time. But when I started choreographing, it was just a whole new world, and I was able to open up my own doors, and I got to be in control of my creativity, and I felt like a visionary for the first time. And I really saw myself flourish and my life changing.
Yeah.
And it just made me feel like I could inspire people at another level that was more genuine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I found my voice with that. And
when did you become like a choreographer, start teaching and stuff? Was it like a little bit later on, or?
Yeah, I was 21 and I got asked to teach a kid program in Orange County.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. Because honestly, I didn't know that it was something that would turn into what it is today.
Yeah.
I just love people. I love kids. I love human connection, and I love to dance.
Yeah.
And so when I got offered an opportunity to do what I love and to make money, I was like, let's do it. So
Yeah.
I was teaching every Saturday at this dance studio in Orange County. And I actually met some really great kids, and the class was amazing, and I loved it. And
Yeah.
then more kids kept coming.
Yeah.
And then they would tell their friends, and then the parents would tell other parents, and my
Yeah.
classes just kept growing. So it was like this really organic thing where I started literally teaching kids.
Yeah.
And then I would choreograph in my gym. And
Yeah.
I would just post a little 15-second Instagram clips. Do you remember that?
When it was 15 seconds and it had to be square too.
Literally.
Yeah.
15-second clips. I kind of miss that.
I do too.
Like, I love the evolution. Like, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, but those were the days where it was like not that I don't genuinely love what I'm doing today, but I remember the feeling and the rawness of that time.
Yes.
And I was just organically doing what I loved, and there were other studios that were like, oh, okay, we see you choreographing for these kids at this studio. We want you to come here. And so then I was making my way in Orange County.
Yeah.
And then I got hit up by EdgePack in Los Angeles. Do you remember?
Oh my God.
R.I.P. to EdgePack.
Yeah.
We love you and we miss you. Oh my
That
gosh.
was such a great studio.
That EdgePack. I mean, I took all my classes there.
Yeah.
And so hearing from them wanting me to sub, it was like the biggest honor ever. And so I just subbed, and I remember I had like 2 people in my class, and it was the best day of my life.
Yeah.
And I didn't make any money because like nobody really knew me yet. I didn't have any credits as a choreographer, but just having the opportunity to start somewhere, doing what I love with just 2 people.
Yeah.
It was like a dream.
Yeah.
And so that's how it started. I started off with kids, and I think the environment was just fun and relaxed, and I didn't want it to feel like an audition. I just wanted these kids to fall in love with dance.
Yeah.
And it was such a great environment, and it just kept building and building. And it was honestly through word of mouth, because I didn't have a big following yet.
Yeah.
I didn't have a big social media. So I was posting like 15-second clips, but I had like no followers.
Yeah.
So
and also just social media has evolved so much, and like the past couple of years has even been like completely different than what it was when it first started.
Totally.
Yeah.
The evolution is insane.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I
but
love
it's
it.
also terrifying at times.
It's
like,
terrifying. I do appreciate how dance is so universal now.
Yes.
And now, like, us as dancers, we can have our own platforms and our own voices.
Our own voices, yeah. I think also going back to like when you first started, I think the reason why you are so successful is because when you started, it came from this place of authenticity and just passion.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people try to calculate, oh, if I do this, then I'm going to receive this. But when you're doing something that you truly love and you're not expecting to gain something from it, that's when people are truly drawn to you for you. And that's when the word of mouth goes around, and you're able to grow from there instead of starting at a high and then just plateauing from there.
Yes.
So I feel like having that mindset with whatever you're doing of just doing it because you truly believe in it, or that you truly love it and you truly care for the people that you're around and doing it for, then that's where true growth happens, and you have that longevity in your career as well.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And I'm the type of person that if I can't feel something from it, and I know you're the same way, if it's not authentic to us, our number 1, our best work won't come out. And number 2, if we feel like it's not coming from a place of like authenticity, then other people will feel that too.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I loved what I was doing so much, and then naturally, like, opportunities came with it.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect that my life would look like it is today. I just really, really, really wanted to move and be around people. And I'm really thankful for what it's turned into because I had literally no clue.
Yeah.
And I had people that weren't for it at the beginning. I had people that were like, oh, you know, this is not your lane. This is not, like, you haven't done enough in your career to be a choreographer. You're too young, you know?
Yeah.
And I had done like a lot in my career, but it wasn't even about that. I was so excited, and I had this burning desire to create and just be around other people and inspire them in that way.
Yeah.
And like when you start and you dive into something like that, it can be really, really scary, but the response was so worth it.
Yeah.
And then the craziest thing was when, this is a really funny story, Kaycee. I walked into Millennium one day, and I had to have been like 20 years old, okay?
Yeah.
10 years ago when we met.
Yeah.
And it was like Halloween, and I walked into Millennium, and every single day I would go in and just choreograph something. I would just always have choreography in the back of my pocket just in case. And there was a day where I can't remember whose class it was, but the class canceled. And I went to the front desk and I was like, do you need a teacher? And they're like, yeah, but like they couldn't rely on me yet. Understandably. Like, trust and believe. MDC, shout out to you. I get it. But I wanted so desperately for the opportunity. I was like, I got choreography. I got like 3 different combos.
Yeah.
I'm here. You don't even have to pay me.
Yeah.
I literally said that to Jin Lee at the front desk.
Oh my God.
And they're like, okay, go. Go.
Wow.
I didn't expect anything. I was like, I don't even have to get paid. I just want the experience. And that changed my life. That was my first time teaching at Millennium. And I wasn't even asked to teach. I begged. I was like, let me teach. You need a sub? I'll do it.
Yeah.
And it was the best day of my life. And that really changed my life because of the feedback that I got from the students in the class. And I remember saying, if you liked my class, go to the front desk and let them know. I was like, closed mouths don't get fed.
Yeah.
And so that was how it started for me.
Yeah.
Was
Wow.
someone literally, like at Millennium, someone couldn't teach anymore, and I was like, give me a shot.
Yeah.
Give me a shot. And it was so amazing. I think I taught like a Britney Spears combo. It was like Inside Out by Britney Spears.
Yeah.
It was like a really sexy one. And I'll just never forget how they took a chance on me.
Yeah.
And they gave me that opportunity, and I took it, and it was like the best feeling in the world. It was the best day of my life.
That's so special.
Yes.
I love that. See, I feel like I would get so much anxiety, like putting myself out there and like walking up to a desk and be like,
I know.
hey! Like,
I had some serious cojones.
Yeah.
They're like,
I love that. Oh my gosh.
they loved it, and then they kept asking me to sub.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
where
how it
begins.
started.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
I think for me, it was always hard for me to try, because again, like you said, I'm still finding my identity within myself, and also still with dancing and what I want to do with my career. But I think when I first was making that transition into starting to teach, I was always hesitant at first because obviously, like, I became known like when I was when I was 10 years old, and so I had made like a name for myself just taking classes and everything. So I always felt there was this expectation of me to like do something new, and but then at the time I was only 15, and I was like, I feel like I still have so much to learn. Like, I'm still a student to this day, but I felt like there was this expectation of me to venture out and teach because all my friends were already doing that. But for me, I stuck my ground, and there were a lot of like opportunities that I could have had to start teaching. And for me, it would have been great to give back to people who had supported me. But in my own body and in my own mind, I felt it wasn't right because I didn't have something to teach. And my biggest fear was I didn't want to just teach because I'm this name and teach a combo and steps and then, you know, do that. Like, I wanted if I was going to teach, I wanted to actually have something to give to people. And because I was mostly known for hip hop or like more of the full out stuff, people expected me to do that. But I wasn't like, I'm a choreo head, so like I can take any piece of choreography and like memorize that and like and get the details of what the choreographer is asking. But when it came to actually creating something of my own, I knew like I wasn't the strongest at that in hip hop, and I still don't think I'm the strongest at that in that category.
You're iconic.
But like there's still so much like that I can learn. But it wasn't until I finally gained the confidence and I started finding my love of contemporary again, and even doing classes such as Wild Things, which was such a huge impact, and I want to get into that. But like that was such a huge turning point for me to start diving deeper into the vulnerability side of my storytelling, and that's when I found, ooh, this is what I'm good at. This is what I can teach people. And so I didn't start teaching until I was 15, which is actually like later than a lot of my friends started teaching. But again, I wanted to make sure it was the right timing and I had something to teach.
I respect that. I really do.
Thank you. So I remember like there's a studio that I taught at for my very first like public class, because I had taught at my studio because it's my studio.
Right, of course.
But my very first public class, it was at Extreme Dance Force in Chicago.
Yes.
And I taught 3 classes that weekend, and it was one like beginner, intermediate hip hop, one advanced hip hop, and then I was like, I need to teach contemporary. Like if I'm gonna teach, let me teach contemporary. But they're
this
like
one on the floor, the one sitting on the floor,
bruises. And so
I love it.
They were like, okay, yeah, of course, like you could teach that, but also if you are down to teach hip hop, because again, that was what I was known for, and like people were coming in, like they don't know me for contemporary, they know me more for hip hop. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. But I was like, I need to teach contemporary. So I remember that weekend, and my mom was there with me too, and I was so nervous, and so I taught like the beginner class, and it went good. I felt good like with it, but obviously I was really nervous. I was getting the hang of it a little bit more. Then I taught the advanced hip hop class, again, kind of diving into the water. But then I went and I taught Bruises, which was my first contemporary class. And something inside of me, I felt different. And I felt more grounded within myself, and when I was teaching, I took my time, I took like effort, and every time that I go into a class that I'm teaching, I always make sure that the people know, hey, I'm basically your guys' age, like I'm just a normal person, like I'm here with you, I'm still learning as I'm going through this. This is a safe space. You're allowed to mess up, you're allowed to do this.
You're just amazing.
Be open with me and be open to that vulnerability.
That's what makes you so amazing. Sorry to interrupt you, but you set the tone.
Thank you.
For your classes.
I always like make sure, because I know how scary it can be.
Yeah.
And a lot of times like choreographers can be intimidating, and obviously I'm not an intimidating person, I don't think. I mean, maybe if you're just like looking at me, I could be intimidating, but I always make sure that they know like they're safe, especially in my class. And so I remember I was teaching that class, and it was such a special and pivotal pivotal
I love pivotal
moment. Yeah, you know.
I love pivotal.
But it was such a special moment, and I remember my mom saying like how she thought like I was such, like she always says I have a way with my words and everything, and that was the first time that like she told me that when I was teaching, and she was like, this is like something special, like you have something special when you're teaching this. And I just always knew that whenever I taught or whenever I teach contemporary, like I know I have something to teach, because not a lot of people in LA do teach that, or they don't teach the performance side of things, or the storytelling, and allow students to be vulnerable. It's all about like the movement, which is so dope and so cool. But like, I know for me, there's so many people that do that. Within myself, I feel like I wouldn't be able to compete with that. But when it comes to contemporary, it comes to storytelling, I know I'm in my lane.
Yes.
And this is what I'm like meant to do. And I know there
Feels
aren't a lot of people who can do that. And so that's been a whole journey for me, because it took me a long time to accept teaching. And for the longest time, I was terrified of it, and I would still say no to some opportunities because, again, I didn't want to just be another kid coming into these classes and teaching just because I have a name. I wanted to actually take my time with it and, again, have something that I can give back to people.
That's so
other
important.
than just coming in and teaching and then leaving. So it's been quite a journey, and even like, I think not even until like late last year or even this year, I truly appreciate getting to teach or getting to choreograph and create my own things. But it's always really hard for me to believe in myself and believe in what I have, because again, I can take anybody else's choreo and make it my own, but when it comes to my own stuff, I have this huge fear that it's not good enough.
I feel you.
Yeah, because it's not the most complicated steps. Like, I don't know how to choreograph one yen and two, like, I can do it, but like when it comes to actually making it up on the spot, I don't know how, or I feel like I'm not the greatest in it. So then, but when it comes to having something that I want to share or creating a story, I put my whole heart and my passion into that, and that's when I'm able to get the best from me. But I still feel like there's this expectation where people want me to do something else, but it's like, no, this is what I feel inspired by, and I always try to stand my ground with it, because I'm not going to get a good class unless I truly believe in myself 100%.
Absolutely. I respect that you didn't just rush into it, because I was going to ask you why you were afraid of it, but you kind of gave me a little bit of clarity. And there is this thing where sometimes people will just teach because they want to make money. Understandably. I understand. Everybody has their own reasons, but something that I really admire about you is that you were willing to wait until it felt right to your spirit. And that is so important, because like, dance is so sacred. We love this. I'm looking at the camera. I want you guys to understand, this is like our life and our passion. There's more to our life, but this is our voice, and this is our therapy, our therapeutic tool. And I love that you respect it so much. And the thing is that I don't think it has anything to do with your age. I hear your point. Kaycee, you are the type of person where when I first met you, I learned from you at a young age, 10 years ago. When you were 10 years old, I was inspired by you, and I learned from you by just watching and observing you. And I know it's not always the case with every other person, but you are very special, and you have something about you that is like, I don't even know how to put a finger on it. You are just unlike the rest, and it's from your passion, it's from your ability, and you are one of the most talented people I've ever met, that it makes sense when I hear she was 15 years old, like that you were 15 years old when you first taught your class. And that is something that is to admire, because you didn't just say, oh, well, I'm this person, so I'm going to teach a class and make my coin. You respected the art form so much, and you waited until it felt right to you. And the environment that you create for people, and I can't wait to get into your class. Number one, I can't wait this year, and we're going to collab. But you create spaces for people to just be themselves, and that's a true teacher. And you can teach any style. You're like sick at everything. You're sick at every style. Like, if you just made up a jazz combo one day and you taught a jazz class, I'm in there. I'm in there like swimwear.
I love it.
But like, I get it when it comes to, okay, this is what inspires me, and this is the lesson I'm going to bring into the room. That's what makes you dope. Because you're not going to conform. Even though you can do it all, you could just teach any style, and I will be in there, and so many other people. You will sell out anything that you teach. But I think it's cool that you don't allow what people want from you to dictate what you do with your life. And I respect that so much, because sometimes I find myself as 30 years old, like my own person, finding myself seeing what other people want to see, even on social media from posting. And that is very, very real.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you're like, maybe people don't want to see this, so I'll cater to what they want right here. But what is going on? What about what I want to put out there?
Right.
Like,
it's hard finding that balance of like, okay, giving people what they want, but then also being like, well, maybe I want to share this today or post this or do this. I think it's completely valid, because identity is not linear. And I think the coolest thing about life is that we are in control. And at any point, if I say I want to be a karate kid, like,
hell yeah,
I can go be a karate kid and completely change
and kill
my identity, you know, which I did that when I was 5. But like, I think that's the whole thing, is like, we are in control. Like, nobody else can dictate what we do with our lives. And I think it's so important to remember that, like, you just have to stay true to who you are, and you don't have to keep doing something if you lost the passion for it, or just because like other people expect that from you, or if you want to venture out into something else, like me doing this. Like, I put it off for so long. I said in like the other episodes, but I was going to do this back in 2020. But like, it took me so long to be able to do it, because I was afraid that people wouldn't want this from me, because they only knew me for dancing. And dancing was my voice. And I was like, no one's going to want to hear me talk, or like, what the heck is this podcast? And so I was like, you know what? I want to do this for me, because I believe in it. I have things that I want to talk about. And again, if it connects with somebody else, that is one of the most important things for me, is to be able to reach the outsiders that feel like they don't have that voice. But again, this is just a very therapeutic thing for me. And it's another,
for me too.
it's another version of who I am. And I don't think you have to be one specific thing. I think you can be
whatever
multiple aspects and share that with people. And not everyone's going to accept everything. But as long as you accept it and you love it, then that's all that matters.
Listen to her, y'all. This is amazing, Kaycee.
Thank you.
You're so inspiring, friend.
You're so inspiring.
I'm so glad that you did this.
Yeah, I'm just, it's stressful, but you know.
You're killing it. She's got our whole setup in here, you guys. This is inspiring.
Oh yeah. So another thing that I feel like for me, I don't know if you ever experienced this, but when it came to like finding who I am, and finding my own identity, I feel like for the longest period, and I kind of touched on this before we started filming too, how like this year I finally feel like an adult. And for the longest time, I felt like a 15-year-old trapped in an adult body.
That's so real.
And it's this weird feeling. And like, I mean, I still have like, obviously a young like energy, but I have a very old soul. So that's kind of my mix. But I think for the longest time, a lot of people, and they still don't, a lot of people don't view me as an adult, and they still see me as a kid. And I think there's a difference between like growing up fast and maturity.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people confuse being young with immaturity, and expect you to grow up from such a young age. But I think I've always had this, again, old soul about me, and about my mind and my words, and how I'm able to articulate how I feel. But a lot of people only saw me as someone being young, even though I feel like I was always mature for my age. But because I didn't change myself, and you know, even when it came to dancing, like do the older side of the choreography, or like, you know, wear something like
a little more
scandalous.
revealing.
Yeah. But people always just saw me as like, oh, well, you're still a kid then. But I think there's a difference between that. And it's like, no, I'm 20 now, like, but I don't have to show myself off. Like I give my confidence through who I am, and I know who I am, and but that's always been a struggle for me, is trying to break out of that kid stigma, and because like I think also it comes from, I think I'm a nice person and everything.
You're an amazing person.
Like I'm not very confrontational, and I don't like speak my mind on certain things. But a lot of people confuse like that that immaturity versus maturity and growing up and all of that. So it's been kind of hard for me to break out of that shell while still staying true to who I am.
Wow.
And yeah, that's kind of like where I've been the past like few years, and even still to this day, because I'm not giving in to what other people think or what they're saying, and I'm staying true to who I am, but people still view me as a kid, and that's hard because
it's so reversed. That's so crazy.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard, and I think for the longest time I didn't believe in myself either, because I always felt like I was always going to be second to somebody, and I was never viewed as me and me growing up. So it's even still like a struggle to find that balance to this day of, okay, well, yeah, I'm 20. I'm like able to do these things now. I mean, even in your class, like the other night.
You were amazing.
Yeah, that was the first time I allowed myself to feel like a woman. I even said it to
Crazy
my
that you just
friend.
said that.
I even said it to my friend, and I was like, you know, I didn't allow myself to do that, but I finally have this inner confidence within myself of knowing who I am, and I'm like, you know what? I am 20. Like I feel like a woman. I didn't feel like a kid. So that's why it was so like special. And I remember leaving that class, and I was like, that was the first time I felt different, but like a good different. And I feel like
we haven't talked about this yet.
Yeah, and yeah, I know. I'm so excited that I'm telling you this now. But like I truly felt like a 20-year-old woman, like the 20-year-old version of me. I didn't feel 15. And that was so special for me to feel that, because I had never, one, allowed myself to feel that way, and two, like, I'm okay with it. And that's what I call growth.
That is growth.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say really quick.
Yeah.
I do not look at you as a kid
anymore.
I don't think I've ever said this to you, but I see the woman that you're becoming and that you are. And you are one of the most mature people I have ever met, because of how you carry yourself, because of how you have your own mind and your own way of showcasing your personality and what makes you you. You don't conform to today's society, which there is a thing where people think that if you show less clothing, if you wear more makeup, and you present yourself in a more scandalous way, you look older, right? And that is something that I'll share this with you. That's something I went through at a young age, where I felt that I had to, at 15 years old, I had to dance more sexy if I wanted to be taken seriously by choreographers.
Yeah.
Or if I had to dress a little more revealing. And I was like a tomboy growing up. I loved wearing sweatpants and
T-shirts, like that was my vibe. I didn't really like wearing tight clothing or anything like that, but
I was told, like, you gotta dress more revealing, like you have to
look more mature.
So it's very real,
The things that you're saying, because I actually fell victim to that
Yeah.
at a young age in the dance industry. It's very, very real, and we actually don't really talk about it, but I did feel like I had to grow up quicker in order to be taken seriously as a dancer.
That's what it is. It's like it's really kind of like reversed when, like you said, to be taken seriously, you have to like
Over-sexualize yourself.
in this way, when like that's not all what like maturity is.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think like obviously if you're confident in yourself and like
Then
that's
work.
you, go off. Yeah, like do that.
But don't put that stigma and expectation on other people who have their own style.
Yeah.
And their own way that they present themselves. Not everybody wants to like show up in a thong.
Yeah.
That doesn't make them any less of a woman.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I love your style. I love your style. And you're just as sexy when you're wearing a big baggy t-shirt and sweatpants. Like, for you to just show up in whatever the hell you want and still outdance and like not even to make it a competitive thing, but it doesn't matter what you show up in, you are amazing. And that Trading Places choreography, you looked hot. You looked hot and you were fully clothed. You didn't have to show up in anything that was revealing. Your talent spoke for itself.
Thank you.
And I was actually watching it with Donovan and I was like, look at this woman. It's so crazy that you said that I felt like a woman because lately, the past like couple years, I've been saying, look at this woman.
Yeah.
Look at her.
Wow.
I see you as the woman that you are. And
that means a
like,
lot.
I know I don't need to tell you this because you know it and you're just your own person, but I'll just say it as well as anyone else that needs to hear this. Don't let anyone make you feel like you have to over-sexualize yourself in order to be taken seriously as a professional or to be looked at as older or mature. That's just like a stigma that needs to be completely canceled and obliterated and all of that.
Yeah.
That is not real. That's just unfortunately today's society.
Yeah.
And how people feel like they have to present themselves in order to fit in.
I think like what is important to remember is that sexiness is confidence.
Yes.
It's not what you wear, it's how you present yourself.
Yes.
It's how you feel.
It's energy.
And it's your energy. Like you said, you can be in baggy sweats, hair messy, just woke up, but if you have this confidence about you, like that is what maturity is. And
listen,
I think like that's where that fine line gets kind of messed up because of what we are told or viewed through on social media.
Oh yeah.
And it has like such a huge impact for a lot of people of any age, any gender, but especially for young females is because you're going through this awkward period of trying to grow into your body and like things are changing. And if you are guided in the wrong light, it can be this nasty rabbit hole.
Absolutely.
But it's all about staying true to who you are and having your own confidence because the right people will come around and you shouldn't have to feel like you have to conform to what somebody else wants you to be just because you want to be viewed as an adult or as someone who's grown. Like the right people will be drawn to you for the right reasons if you just stay true to who you are.
I literally wish that I had someone like you when I was younger to tell me that. And I really hope that everyone, and I'm sure everyone is gonna, you're probably changing so many lives by just saying what you said because that is such a real thing. And I just have so much respect for you. I've said that so many times in this interview and I tell you all the time, but who you are and how you're so unapologetically you is admirable.
Thank you.
And that's how, like, you're just gonna change so many people's lives.
And I think, well, like, the people that I've surrounded myself with, and especially you, like, you have inspired me to become the woman that I am today. And that's why I think, like, our relationship is so special, is because we do have this trust and we have this bond, and you take me outside of my comfort zones, and we've done things such as like concept videos together, and but it's been so like different each time, and that's what I truly respect, is that you are who you are, but you're able to be so many different things, and that's what I'm striving to be. Is like I don't have to just be this one person, and I can be me, but I can be me as a podcaster, as a karate kid, you know,
Yes.
like, and doing all these different things. But I really do respect that about you. And
Thank
even you as a choreographer, like every class that you go to or that you teach, it's completely different.
I do that.
Yeah,
It's always
but
different.
it's so special because not a lot of choreographers do that. But like
you.
your students get to learn something new from you every time and learn something new about you every time. But that's why I always love going to your classes because it's a challenge because you never know what you're going to do.
Thank you.
But that's what makes you you, and there's not going to be anybody else out there like you.
I love and appreciate you.
Oh, I love you too.
God, I appreciate that because sometimes, I get down on myself sometimes too, and then I have this unrealistic expectation. So just hearing this, I really appreciate.
Yeah, of course.
God, I love you. These are
love
great
you.
questions.
Thanks. I know.
Amazing.
I feel like we did everything, but
No one's ever asked me questions like this before. These are really in-depth questions.
thank you.
I loved it.
I do really truly appreciate this conversation, especially because I've like, as we're talking, like I'm learning more things about, oh, this is how I think about this, and like how I'm able to share it with people, or even about the whole confidence thing. But it is very therapeutic just to like sit down and talk and just go through different parts of your lives because it brings up so many things that you've been feeling over the years, but maybe never quite knew how to say it until you're in an environment where you feel comfortable enough to say it. Yeah. I guess I think just my last thing would just be like any advice that you have, even that you tell yourself, that you would give to other people trying to find their identity and growing up, trying to find who they are.
That's such a beautiful and deep question. And I think when you're younger, like we talked about, it's so hard to figure out who you are. Mm-hmm. And that was something that was really hard for me too. But something that really kept me going was just focusing on what made me happy and what made me feel alive, which for me, that was dance. And I surrounded myself with people that inspired me and that encouraged me to figure out what my superpower was. And there's so many obstacles along the way in life, but as long as you have that heart and passion and that thing that gets you through all the hard stuff in life, like for me, that was dance. And I didn't know where it was going to take me, but my love for that, my love for dance and the support that I had from my parents, and it took a minute for me to get their support with dance because they wanted me to go in a completely other direction in my life, but having dance and knowing that that was my therapeutic tool, knowing what my therapy was, having that close to me, having a love that got me through things, that wasn't a person or a materialistic object, it was just a feeling that I had that got me through really hard times. That helped me figure out who I was as a person. And I didn't give up on dance. And it helped me not give up on myself, because being a dancer can be really, really tough. And just finding a passion can be really hard too, but sticking to it and never giving up on yourself and just having patience with yourself, but also like putting in whatever you need to do in order to, like, for yourself. Never giving up on that and just allowing it to flourish. And it's such a complicated concept, but just never give up. Literally never, ever, ever give up, and surround yourself with positivity and surround yourself with people that support your dreams and that believe in you and that support you as a person and who you are. That's enough. Never feeling like you have to change. And again, I wish I could have listened to myself at a younger age. Like, I wish I could have said to myself, you don't have to change anything about yourself. Amidst all the identity crisis that I had, I never ever gave up on myself with my passion. And yeah, I would just say, keep going. Keep going. And I know that sounds cheesy, but find whatever makes you feel alive and attach yourself to it and just keep going.
Yeah. And I think it's all about just trusting your gut and your intuition. And knowing what feels right, not what someone else is telling you.
Exactly.
Because someone could be saying, oh, like, just give up on this and because it's never going to work out. But if you truly believe it and you truly love that, stick with it because it will.
Yes.
Like, trust yourself when you feel that, because nobody can tell you who to be.
Exactly.
Except for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have support, let's just say you have a dream and maybe you don't have the support that you would like to have, it's okay. Because you're not alone. And a lot of people go through stuff like that. When I wanted to move out to LA and be a dancer, my parents were like, what do you want to do? No, we're not going to do that. You're going to go to college. And, you know, I eventually, you know, those people will come around. And even if they don't, never give up on yourself. And the dreams and passions that you have for yourself, just never, ever, ever give up on yourself. And surround yourself with positive energy and people. Cut out any negativity. I'm just going to have to say this too. Cut out anything that does not serve you.
Yeah.
Cut out anything that tries to dim your light. And that's so real too.
It is.
Surround yourself with love and light and people that really, really want to see you win.
Yeah. And
that's huge.
I find that I'm most myself when I'm around people who make me the happiest and who have positive energy. Because if you just have this negative cloud, like, you really start to lose yourself. And that's like what happened to me for the longest time, is I lost myself because I wasn't happy. And the people that I was around, like, maybe I wasn't opening up to them, so they weren't able to see that I was going through something.
Yeah.
But it's also just being able to have people that you can be vulnerable with and share things with, because that's the only way that they will know what you're going through. You'll know what they're going through, and you can help each other and just love each other. I think just being kind, loving one another, and I think the most cheesiest things in life are the most true. And it's about never giving up, loving each other, being kind, and sticking to who you are and not what someone wants you to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I hope that you're all listening to what Kaycee is saying, because let me tell you, I needed to hear all of this too.
Yeah.
You have a way with your words. I know your mom has told you that, but it's so true. You have a way with your words and the way that you make people feel. Like, your words impact people. And I needed to hear everything that you said today. And like, when I first came here, I was going through a little something. I was like, listen, sis, I got a little anxiety. Had a little anxiety going into this, but it wasn't you. It was just sometimes life can get hard.
Yeah.
And I'm really thankful that you're in my life and that you make me feel safe and that you're my friend. I really appreciate you. You're so real.
Thank you so much. And I'm very grateful that we did this, because it was quite a journey to get it and everything, because life gets in the way. But I'm seriously so grateful for you, and you're one of the most real, down-to-earth, truest humans ever. And I'm so glad that I had someone like you to look up to, and I can't wait for this year. It's gonna, I'm manifesting it. This year is gonna be such a great year for both of us, and individually and together. And I'm just so excited to see where it takes you. And make sure to follow Jojo on everything. Love you. Yeah, support her. She is so incredible and one of the most amazing humans you will ever meet, see, hear from. And I love you so much.
I love you. You're the best.
This is amazing.
Love you so much.
And we'll see you next week.